Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. Now, a couple of weeks ago, I did a story about a guy called Richard Lochhead, and he went to California and gave a 15-minute speech. Something he could have done on Zoom. But of course, this is the Scottish Government, so therefore it was a first-class ticket all the way, put up at a very nice hotel, undoubtedly for 3 days, just so he could give this 15-minute speech, which, as I say, could have been done by Zoom. But more details have emerged, and it just for somehow just gets worse. Way worse. And you have to ask, why are the SNP doing this? Why are they like the way they are? I think there must be something deeply corrupt, because when you could spend 15 minutes in your office with a Zoom like this, giving that speech for the cost of 15 minutes of your time, but instead you want a many £1,000s worth of flight, hotel, food, etc., to give the same 15-minute speech, and you take 3 days. So there's probably an awful lot of sightseeing and doing while you're there, isn't there? It seems to be a very, very weird way of doing things. But these new details have emerged that adds to the cost over and beyond what we already thought it was. And it's a joke. Here goes. Now, Richard Lochhead must be a very, very important man. Too important to drive his own car. SNP are in La La Land as Minister spends £2,500 of taxpayers' cash to get chauffeured around Los Angeles. He's there for 3 days. 3 days, and he's spending £833 a day driving around Los Angeles. He's only there to give one speech. Hotel, place where he needs to give the speech, back, done. Get a taxi for that. No. £2,500 of chauffeur-driven pleasure and wonderfulness, simply because this guy wants to feel like he's someone important, and hey, the taxpayers can pay it. Nobody in Scotland can afford to feed their family, but this guy can sit there and do this. This is the sheer incompetent waste. These people, I think the SNP have got to the point now where they know they're done. They know they're getting out. They know they're probably going bankrupt. And so they're trying to live as high on the hog as is possible to do while they're in the position to do it. Then they can say, hey, we can look back and look at we did this, we did this, and we did this. Oh, and I got the taxpayer to pay for this. They need to be reined in. I think they probably need to be sued. This is not a legitimate expense. This is nothing. Hire a car. First of all, there was no need to even be there. But if you are there, hire a car and drive yourself. It's not hard. I've done it. I've driven around LA. There was one point where I come out of filling up. You put the petrol in, gas, as they say. And I was going down the road, and my wife said, other side of the road. Oh, it's all shit. But that was only like about 300 yards, and thankfully it was early morning. There wasn't many people there. Up in Wiltshire, if anyone knows it. Anyway, yeah, so, but other than that was the only time I did it. It's easy. Drive. Big roads. It's very hard to hit anything, although they manage it. Anyway, new details have emerged about Richard Lochhead's 3-day trip to California, where he gave a 15-minute speech on space. Yes, because he's an expert on space travel, this guy. You know, obviously, he's not an engineer. He's not a rocket scientist or anything like that. He's just a politician. But, you know, because Scotland is a world leader when it comes to space launch technology or something. And so he went to California, went to LA to give this speech where he said, Scotland, we know everything about space. We're world leaders. Look, we've got Scotty. That was it. That's all. I'm sorry, Scotland, but that's all you've got. Scotty, right? Now, there may well be a launch capability being built in the Shetlands, I believe. It's a joke. We covered the cost. It was thousands. So that this sad man, but very important in his own mind, man, could go there. And now, 2.5... I can't get over it. Anyway, excuse me. The SNP is living in La La Land, according to critics, after it emerged a minister spent over £2,500 to be chauffeured around Los Angeles. All for a 15-minute speech. We previously reported that Richard Lochhead travelled from to California in October to attend a space economy summit. Please, have you seen the state of Scotland and you're wanking money on this shit? Anyway, he and the 3 government officials enjoyed 3 days in the City of Angels with Mr. Lochhead. So there was 4 of them. It wasn't cheap. The Nationalist Government, Small Business, Innovation, Tourism and Trade Minister, oh bless, giving a short address. He spoke to delegates about Scotland's ambition to be a leading European space nation. Have you seen the potholes in the roads and you want to go to space? You can't run a words fail me. They want, oh, we've got the ambition to be leaders in space technology. Fix the roads. Fix the NHS. Educate your children. Who's going to be leading the charge into space? Because it won't be the fuckwits coming out of the schools because they aren't educated. I mean, they know 37 different genders and they've written an essay on how they feel when they touch themselves. But, you know, there's no maths or science anymore. Well, that's hard, isn't it? And you can't get the teachers anyway because no teacher wants to work in the Scottish schools. And you're talking about space technology. Get a grip. And, I mean, honestly, as for being chauffeured, Jesus, stick your thumb out and hitch a ride back to Real Street. Anyway, information published on the Scottish Government website confirms the total cost of the trip was nearly £12,000, not including the civil servants. In other words, he alone, one man, for a 15-minute speech that he could have done on Zoom, £12,000. I want that money back. He needs to repay every penny of that. The Freedom of Information request revealed chauffeur car travel costs amounted to £2,500. A further £8,000 was spent on his plane ticket. £8,000 on a plane ticket to the States. That's first class. That isn't cattle class. That's a first class ticket. 821 was on his accommodation and 438 on travel and subsistence, food, meals. So he's eating £140, £150 a day, nearly. How much food can one man eat at £150 a day? Go to a Denny's, $10. Man, fill up. Unbelievable wastage. These people are so far up their own arse. Look at me. I've got to have a first class ticket because I can't sit in cattle class with ordinary people. I'm important. No, you're not. There was no reason to even be there. Anyway, the spend has been slammed by critics who reckons it shows the SNP is out of touch with ordinary Scots. They know full well what they're doing. Murdo Fraser, the Scottish Conservative business spokesman, said it was always questionable about whether Richard Lochhead really needed to take his trip to Los Angeles, but no one could possibly defend these costs. And there is no conceivable excuse for spending over £2,500 taxpayers' money on a chauffeured car. They live in an absolute world of entitlement and wankery. What they should say is, first of all, justify yourself being there. Well, I've got to give this speech. Do it on Zoom. Well, then they can't come up with a reasonable excuse. But even if they did, you say, right, here's your ticket. Yeah, but that's only like £400. That's cattle class, isn't it? Yeah. Well, I'm better than that. I'm more important. Well, if you want to upgrade, put your hand in your pocket, pull your credit card out, and pay the difference yourself. Let's see how quickly they do that. They won't bloody do that. But meanwhile, a £4,000 each way, so £8,000 ticket, so he can sit at the pointy end, quaffing his champagne, eating his caviar, getting fondled by a nice little air hostess. Lovely, eh? Anyway, the Scottish Government defended the spend. Don't know how. Saying the hire car was a multi-seater. Oh, well, that's all right then. 2 arseholes in it. The full price of the trip was over £26,000 for a 15-minute speech. So, getting on for £2,000 a minute. It must have been a hell of a speech. I'm just done. I'm stopping. I can't. I just can't get over it. What a prick. What an absolute self-entitled nonce. Coming up. Seriously? Seriously? I want to see. He needs to publish the contents of that speech. I don't believe that speech was worth £2,000 a minute. He must have used some brilliant words. Must have invented half a dozen. That's the only way you can justify £2,000 a minute on a speech. Unbelievable, isn't it? It's unbelievable money. They don't live in the real world. People are starving. Hospitals falling apart. Roads like shit. And pricks like that, £2,000 a minute for a speech. If you're not angry, you need to question yourself as to why. Get angry. Get very angry. I'm offended by that. If this was April the 1st, I'd be on the phone to the police reporting that. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. I'm going to go calm down. I'm going to go and get another one of these. Then I'll move on to the next video. But heavens to Betsy, that is appalling, isn't it? Till next time, stay safe, stay well. Definitely hit the subscribe button, ring the bell, and I will speak to you later. Bye.